Hey guys, Desolate Magic here. It's spoilers. Let's go! So first up, we've got a Sirarak, or something like that, Lord of Undeath. He's a 5/5 3-cost black legendary creature zombie wizard, and when he enters the battlefield, if you didn't complete specifically the Tomb of Annihilation dungeon, return a Sirarak to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. It makes sense, he's a 5/5 for 3, and when a Sirarak attacks, for each opponent, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless the defending player sacrifices a creature. That is pretty powerful. I mean, just a 5/5 with a token generation effect for 3, and that's supposed to make you build your entire deck around dungeons? I don't know about that. By the time the dungeon's done, you could have just cast something for 6. Next up, we got Nest of the Hydra. It's a land, and if you control 2 or more other lands, Nest of the Hydra enters battlefield taps. This is one of those man lands, part of the rare cycle here, and this is the green one. If you pay X plus green, so 1 green, Nest of the Hydra becomes an XX green Hydra creature token until end of turn. It's still a land, X can't be 0. Really? I mean, let them. Let them instantly kill their land. I've actually cast Stonecoil Serpent for 0 just to get the ETB and the death trigger. Well, this is the most drastically overpowered of these man lands. You can make this as big as you want, nobody ever knows when it's coming, and when it's not your turn, your opponent can't blow it up. That's why man lands are so disgustingly annoying, and anything that says destroy target non-land permanent, or just anything non-land permanent, you can't target this. If they would have given it trample, I'd be calling for it to get banned right now. But now it's just incredibly annoying and obnoxious to the game state, which I guess is what they're going for. They're fine with that. They don't realize that equates to lost customers. Next up, Skeletal Swarming is 5-cost enchantment. Green... why do I even try? Why don't I just write them down? Green, black, plus 3 generic. In case you missed the last episode, my brain don't work good. I cannot look at the mana symbols and name the color. I can't. I am incapable of doing it. Anyway, it's an enchantment. It's a rare. Each skeleton you control, which I think there's like 3 in the set so far, has trample, attacks each combat of Fable, wow, and gets plus X plus O, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. Okay, that's pretty insane. That's like a Super Lord's card. And then at the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. I mean, okay, yeah, I mean, this costs 5, so it's not like you're going to do this turn 1. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. Damn, this should have been like called Necromancer's something. See, I hate to say, oh, skeletons, that's the new deck, because it takes more than 1. This is only 4 out of 60, which means that in a given game with an average number of turns and no draw assistance, you're going to see this card 65% of the time. Which means you almost have a 50-50 of not seeing this card during the entire game. And then, I mean, your skeletons, are they going to live long enough to even get to 5 mana? It's good. It's a really insane card, but I don't think it's going to prop up a bad archetype, because skeletons look really weak. Next up, True Polymorph. Oh boy, it's a 6-cost instant. Target artifact or creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. Well, there you go. You can turn their best artifact or creature into your worst one, or vice versa. Or your weakest one into your own best one, or their weakest... No, their best one into their weakest one. I'm saying there's a lot of options. This is a pretty good card. Next up, we got Rust Monster. Oh, I remember these guys. These are so annoying. They break your equipment. It's a 3-cost, 1 red, 2 generic, 2/1 creature beast with first strike and sacrifice an artifact. Rust Monster gets plus 2, plus O until end of turn, because of course. Well, you have to sack something you probably needed, I mean, maybe a treasure, but still, just to get this to almost what it should have been in the first place. Never did like stuff like that. Next up, Divine Smite. I thought this was a reprint until I read it. It's a 2-cost white instant, uncommon, a target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls phases out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. Oh, that's racist. Just kidding. I don't work at Wizards. I'm not an idiot. So when it phases back in, it doesn't re-ETB, you don't lose any counters, it's just gone, then it's there. Total, everything preserved, auras, equipment, everything still on it. That's just how phasing works. You bought yourself 1 turn. This is just dumb. Oh, that if there's the 1/5 chance that it's black, oh wow, okay. Who cares? Next up, Brave Enfeeblement. Oh, we all saw this one coming. Very famous. Black instant, target creature gets split -4, -1. Makes sense until end of turn. If that creature is white, it gets -4, -4 until end of turn instead. Well, that's racist. This color-specific stuff is so toxic for the game, and if you want to know why, look at Wizards' own article published about why. It came out in 2018. Go read it. Next up, Monk of the Open Hand. It's a 1-cost white elf monk, and 1/1, and it has Flurry of Blows. Of course, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Monk of the Open Hand. I mean, normally this would be like an okay spell, but it's just not that great compared to, like, Luminarch. Next up, White Dragon. It's a 6-cost 4/4 with flying, and it has Cold Breath. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, because that's how the ice effect works. It's been that way for at least 10 years in Magic, probably longer. Well, that doesn't justify the cost. This thing is awful, but it's in the uncommon slot, which might mix up drafts, because, I mean, 4/4 flyer, come on. Next up, oh, here we go. It's Grandmaster of Flowers, Legendary Planeswalker Bahamut? Did they spell that wrong? Oh, Bahamut, so just flip the vowels around, as an ancient demon from, I think, actually a different game. Apparently, I was also mixing it up in my head with Baphomet. Not even going to get into that one. But apparently this guy is the Dragon God of Good. Now, why he isn't a dragon, I don't know, but I know the dragons in D&D can take human form, so that's probably it. In fact, it says as long as Grandmaster of Flowers has 7 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 7/7 Dragon God creature with flying and indestructible. So there is no ult, you just get to 7 and there you go. You're off to the races. Congratulations, you're now a 7/7 Dragon God. So he is a 4-cost double white 3 loyalty planeswalker, but both of his abilities are +1. So first +1, target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block until your next turn. I haven't seen a defensive ability that strong in a long time. +1, version 2, search your library and/or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand. Oh, geez. Reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Open Hand was the 1-cost 1/1 with Flurry of Blows. So yeah, if you keep going to get those, it's whenever you cast your second spell each turn. So, it's a 1-drop. And it's an artificial card that you, like, put in your hand more than just the one you drew. So yeah, you can get that going. So they're both defensive, and then he turns into an indestructible dragon. Did you notice that the phrase "he's still a planeswalker" is completely missing from that? So I assume he can't continue to use his abilities? They didn't specify either way, but I know for a fact that that wording should be there, but I also know for a fact that it wouldn't fit. Look at the card. So we're going to have to go to a ruling because they couldn't fit the damn words on the card again. When you can't even phrase stuff correctly with the proper Oracle text rules, it's time to trim the card down, okay? I am sick of reading these stupid short novels every time somebody plays a card I don't immediately recognize on Arena. I am getting absolutely sick of that. From what I've heard, like even 3 years ago, people are getting sick of the amount of words they're cramming into cards and pretending like they're so unique and shit. I like the way they work, but I'm not going to sit there and read 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 and then try and remember what it does. We just need simpler, more straightforward cards. And plus, I've had so many people on Arena, even in the Platinum League, misread their cards. They don't understand how they work because there's so many things and words and terms, and it's like, that they missed something, that this exact word right in the middle said this, but they thought it was that way and they didn't read it because God knows I'm not going to read my own card twice when it's a paragraph. They need to trim this shit down. I mean, Planeswalkers, okay, I get it, but like, they need to trim this shit down. So anyway, moving on, we've got a 1-cost green spell that actually doesn't do something with lands, I know, and isn't a counter spell. That's not true. I just caught what that bottom says. So I don't know if this is a typo or not. I started reading this and I'm like, what does this even say? So I'm just going to read it the way they wrote it. Choose one. Until end of turn, target creature you control has that base power and toughness, becomes that creature type, and gains that ability. And then it just starts with bullet points. I wonder if it's because they couldn't fit all the words on the card. Do you think that's maybe it? Oh my God. It could even just say your choice of the following. Anyway, you can turn your stupid creature into 1/3 turtle with hexproof, 1/5 spider with reach, or 3/3 elephant with trample. I was going to say this would be pretty fun with Stone Coil because the elephant would get it bigger, but it already has reach and trample, so like, it would make it bigger. Remember, the counter still applies. Setting it at like 3/3 or 1/5 or whatever, that does not override the counters. The hexproof, though, that'll save anything. So in the typical mono green deck, you just made it a lot smaller, but at least it's not dead. So a 1-cost counterspell in green. That's exactly what green needed. They got counterspells, graveyard resurrection. We've got a ton of artificial card draw and life gain. And they're a little bit too good at taking down flying creatures because they have just straight up removal. So the color now officially does absolutely everything. Oh wait, they haven't given it a discard effect yet. Okay. There we go. Pay 3, make him discard 2. There, give him that too. Next up, we've got Plate Armor. It's a white equipment for 3, 1 white, 2 generic. And equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has Ward 1. Fantastic. Equip 3. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each other equipment you control. Not on that creature, just control. In the battlefield in play. You could get this down to 0. Damn, dude, and that Ward 1? Whew, this is spicy. Next up, Eyes of the Beholder. Because, of course, that is me trying to roll my save right there every time I come across a Beholder. So, for 6... In black, obviously this is just meant to be a dumb meme card for draft. It's target creature gets -11 until end of turn. So 6 mana, common black instant, -11, -11. I mean, you could just run Murder, but if it's indestructible. Like I said, just a draft card. Next up, Mordenkainen! Yes! And he looks like the previous CEO of Westwood Studios, the guy who played Kane in all the Tiberian games. Anyway, 5 cost blue Planeswalker here, legendary Planeswalker Mordenkainen, of course, 5 loyalty, nice, and +2, draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of the library. Okay, nice. I mean, that's pretty insane. Then -2, create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. Okay, holy shit, that's broken. Then we've got -10, exchange your hand and library, then shuffle. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. But also, you're going to run yourself out of cards, you dumbass. This is such a liability. When the hell and why the hell would you ever want to do this? So you're just going to +2 yourself into oblivion and then start -2ing some dogs. So, yeah. I mean, I get it. You're going to make your dogs grow, but, like, if you -2, it's going to be almost impossible to get to -10. I honestly don't like anything about this card. I think it's garbage. It's annoying. It enables and encourages really degenerate playstyles and decks, and I absolutely despise it. Next up, here it is. Finally, it's the Eye of Vecna. It's a legendary artifact, 2-drop, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2. If you do, you draw a card and lose 2 life. At least it's optional. And remember, you could take the Eye of Vecna and the, I don't know, wrist or hand or however much is left of Vecna and sack them and then bring out, I think, Vecna. It's like an 8/8 Lich with Indestructible or something. I don't remember. It was like day 1 of the spoilers. So, Hand of Vecna, we've got a 3-drop legendary artifact equipment. Oh, good, you can pimp slap people with the hand. You can equip it and slap the shit out of people. That's fantastic. And it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, equipped creature or a creature you control named Vecna, which that would be hard to do because you can't get Vecna out without cheating it into play or sacrificing this hand, but I guess you could pull another one, which makes no sense in the lore whatsoever. I guess Vecna had 2 hands, but this is legendary, implying that it's not 1 right and 1 left, and you can have 4 of them in your deck. So that falls apart in a hurry anyway. Or a creature you control named Vecna, or the equipped creature, either one gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. I'm sure they meant that to be a hand pun. And then equip, pay 1 life for each card in your hand. If you have 1 card in hand, and you're like, oh, I'll just pay 1 life then for each card in hand, I'll pay 1 life to equip it. You're only giving it a +1/+1 then, because X is the number of cards in your hand. So when would you ever do that? That's so stupid. I guess if you're that desperate for mana, I don't know, I think they just did it for flavor. This is a weird card. So next up, we got Infierno de los Montes Estrella, which means Dragon of the Australian Mountains, or Inferno of the Star Mounts. Yeah, Montana is mountain, so I'm not sure, what exactly Montes are. Well, anyway, it's a legendary creature dragon. The spell can't be countered. Fantastic. It's a 6/6. It's about damn time. Flying in haste. And it has pay 1 red, and Inferno of the Star Mounts, or whatever this is called, gets +1/+0 till end of turn, aka fire breathing. When its power becomes 20 this way, Inferno of the Star Mounts deals 20 damage to any target. Oh, but then it doesn't explode. Come on. Like, come on. And is destroyed. I'm going to write it on there right with a Sharpie. So 14 mana will do it because it's a 6/6. They all have to be red, so good luck with that. You could barely pull that off in like a red Devotion Modern deck or something. Not that this would be good. But in theory, it would be instant death. I mean, not in Commander, obviously, necessarily, but okay. Just giving it fire breathing is incredibly annoying. Fire breathing is just inherently unfair, and when you put it on a giant flying creature, it's even worse. So I hate this. Next up, check for traps. Always a good idea. It's a 2-cost sorcery in black, and target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile that card. If an instant card or a card with flash is exiled this way, they lose 1 life. Otherwise, you lose 1 life. Oh, good. More hand spying, hand disruption. Garbage that everybody universally reviles. Thanks, wizards. Next up, we got some Portuguese gibberish. It probably means Druid of the Moon Circle. And it's a 2/4 for 3 in green creature, human elf druid in the common slot. I am half awake. And it has bear form. Oh boy, because druid. During your turn, Druid of the Moon Circle is a bear, it just is, with basic power and toughness 4/2. It loses all other creature types. So on your turn, it's a 4/2 bear, whether you want it to be or not, and not on your turn, it's a 2/4 human elf druid. So that's actually kind of useful. And that is the last spoiler for today. We got about 30 left, but I'm not sure if they're like lands or something stupid. I don't know. I think every cycle and just about everything has been revealed at this point. I don't think there's a whole lot new. But you never know, and I usually forget to cover the commander cards, which actually I did. They're actually already out. I'll save that for tomorrow's boring spoiler lineup. Spice it up a little. But hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.